Thessara stared at the glowing data streams floating before her eyes, her silver pupils dilating in disbelief. The numbers made no sense. According to every biological law she had studied across 14 star systems, what she was reading should be impossible. Her long, elegant fingers traced through the holographic interface, pulling up comparison charts between species. The Xylorians, her own people, required 7 full cycles of rest between mating attempts. The mighty Xenobiologists needed 4. Even the legendary Valtheron warriors needed at least 3 standard days. But humans? The data showed they could perform daily. Multiple times daily. 4 years without degradation. She stood in the observation deck of the Celestial Research Station, a massive facility orbiting the neutral zone between human and Xylorian space. The station had been built 5 years ago as part of the Interspecies Scientific Exchange Program, a bold initiative to share knowledge between civilizations. Thessara had volunteered immediately. She was Xyloria's youngest xenobiology specialist, graduating top of her class at the Grand Academy. She had spent 3 years studying the reproductive biology of 17 different species. She thought she understood the limits of biological endurance, until she read the human files. Her reflection shimmered in the transparent aluminum viewport. Thessara was considered beautiful even by Xylorian standards. Her skin held a soft luminescence, shifting between pale blue and silver depending on her emotions. Her hair cascaded down her back like liquid starlight, and her eyes were large and expressive, currently narrowed in concentration. She wore the standard research uniform, a sleek bodysuit that regulated temperature and monitored vitals, but hers was customized with additional sensor arrays. She never went anywhere without her tools. The door behind her hissed open. She did not turn around. "Dr. Thessara," a smooth voice said. "Your human consultant has arrived." Thessara took a breath, calming the flutter in her chest. She had requested a human subject 3 weeks ago, specifically asking for someone with medical training who could help her verify the data. The Interspecies Council had approved her request quickly, perhaps too quickly. Now she wondered if she had made a mistake. Working with an actual human, alone in her lab, testing theories about their reproductive endurance, it suddenly seemed far more complicated than when she had written the proposal. She turned slowly. Standing in the doorway was a man who made her breath catch. Dr. Sienna Vale was not what she expected. The human stood well over 6 feet tall, with broad shoulders and a confident stance. His skin was a warm bronze tone, and his dark hair was cut short and practical. But it was his eyes that captured her attention, deep brown and intelligent, currently studying her with the same intensity she usually reserved for her specimens. He wore simple civilian clothes, dark pants, and a fitted shirt that did nothing to hide his athletic build. "Dr. Thessara," he said, stepping forward and extending his hand in the human custom. "I'm Dr. Sienna Vale, though most people just call me Vale. I was told you needed someone to help with a biological study." Thessara looked at his outstretched hand for a moment before taking it. The contact sent an unexpected jolt through her system. His hand was warm, much warmer than Xylorian body temperature, and his grip was firm without being aggressive. She pulled her hand back perhaps too quickly. "Yes," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Thank you for coming. I know the request was unusual." Vale smiled, and she noticed how the expression transformed his entire face. Unusual is one word for it. The briefing I received was pretty vague. Something about endurance testing. Thessara gestured to the central console. "Please, sit. I will explain everything." As Vale settled into one of the ergonomic chairs, Thessara pulled up her research files. The holographic displays surrounded them both, showing complex biological charts, comparison graphs, and detailed anatomical scans. Vale leaned forward, his eyes scanning the data with obvious expertise. "These are human reproductive metrics," he said slowly, "compared against other species." "Yes," Thessara confirmed. She pulled up a specific chart that had been troubling her most. According to the data Earth submitted to the Interspecies Medical Database, human males can achieve full sexual function daily, sometimes multiple times per day, for decades, with minimal recovery time. No cellular degradation. No permanent fatigue. No hormonal collapse. Vale nodded. That sounds about right. Is that unusual? Thessara felt her skin shift toward a darker blue, a sign of agitation. Unusual? It is scientifically impossible. Every other species we have studied requires extended recovery periods. The biological cost of reproduction is enormous. Energy expenditure, hormonal surges, cellular repair, all of it demands rest. But humans, she gestured at the charts, humans show none of these limitations. So you think our data is wrong? Vale asked. I think your data is either fraudulent or you are the most remarkable species in the known galaxy. Vale leaned back in his chair, a slight smile playing at his lips. And you want to test which one it is? I want to understand the truth, Thessara said firmly. If humans truly possess this capability, it changes everything we know about reproductive biology. It suggests adaptation mechanisms we have never encountered. It could revolutionize medical science across dozens of worlds. And if we are just exaggerating? Vale asked. Thessara met his eyes. Then I will document that as well. Science demands honesty. They sat in silence for a moment, the holographic data casting shifting shadows across both their faces. Thessara felt her heartbeat accelerating. This was it. The moment she had been planning for weeks. She needed to propose the actual testing protocol, the hands-on research that would verify or disprove everything. Dr. Vale, she began carefully. The testing I propose will be intimate. It will require monitoring during reproductive activity. I will need access to real-time biological data. Heart rate, hormonal levels, neural response, cellular stress markers. Everything. Vale did not look away. You want to watch me have sex? Thessara felt her skin flush a brighter silver. I want to monitor your biological responses during reproductive activity. Yes. Under controlled conditions. With full consent and medical supervision. And who exactly would I be having sex with? Vale asked. Do you have test subjects lined up? Thessara hesitated. This was the part she had not fully worked out. She had considered bringing in human volunteers, or perhaps using synthetic simulation technology. But deep down, she knew neither option would give her the comprehensive data she needed. She needed to observe human compatibility with another species. She needed to test cross-species interaction. She needed to be part of the experiment herself. But she could not say that. Not yet. We can discuss specifics, she said finally. First, I need your agreement to participate. Full informed consent. You can withdraw at any time. Vale stood up and walked to the viewport. He looked out at the stars for a long moment. Thessara watched him, noting the way he carried himself, the controlled strength in his movements. She found herself analyzing him not just as a scientist, but as a female observing a male. It was unprofessional. It was dangerous. It was undeniable. I will do it, Vale said, turning back to face her. On one condition. What condition? You tell me the real reason you are doing this research. Not the official explanation. The truth. Thessara felt exposed under his gaze. How did he know there was more? She prided herself on her professionalism, her scientific detachment. But Vale was looking at her like he could see past all of that, straight to the curiosity and desire she had been trying to suppress. I told you, she said. Scientific advancement. Vale walked closer, stopping just within her personal space. Dr. Thessara, I have been a medical researcher for 10 years. I know the difference between pure scientific curiosity and personal investment. So I will ask again. Why this research? Why now? Why did you specifically request a human male to come here, alone, to test theories about our sexual endurance? Thessara felt her skin shifting through several colors, betraying her emotional state. She could lie. She could deflect. She could maintain her professional facade. But something about Vale's directness, his refusal to play games, made her want to be honest. Because I need to know, she said quietly. Not for some abstract scientific paper. Not for career advancement. I need to know if the gap between our species can truly be bridged. If compatibility is real. If it is even possible. Why? Vale pressed. Thessara looked up at him. Because I have been alone on this station for 2 years. Because every Xylorian male I have ever known required careful handling, scheduled intimacy, endless recovery periods. Because when I read about humans, about your endurance, your adaptability, your passion, something in me wondered what it would be like to be with someone who did not need to be managed, who could match intensity without breaking. The confession hung in the air between them. Thessara could not believe she had said it out loud. Every professional instinct screamed that she had just destroyed her objectivity, compromised the research, crossed every ethical boundary. But Vale just smiled. Now we are being honest. Good. I can work with honest. He extended his hand again. Let us start over. I am Vale. I am here to help you answer your questions. All of them. Thessara took his hand. This time she did not pull away so quickly. I am Thessara. And I think this research is going to be far more complicated than either of us planned. Vale's smile widened. I am counting on it. The testing chamber was located in the most secure wing of the research station. Thessara had spent the previous night preparing everything, triple-checking her equipment, calibrating sensors, and trying very hard not to think about what she was actually about to do. The room was spacious and clinical, with white walls that could shift to any color or display any environment. Medical monitoring equipment lined one wall, and a large comfortable platform dominated the center, designed to accommodate various body types and positions. Vale arrived exactly on time. He had changed into the sensor suit she had provided, a thin material that would allow her equipment to monitor every biological function while remaining comfortable. The suit left little to the imagination, and Thessara found her gaze lingering longer than professionally appropriate on the clear definition of his muscular frame. Impressive setup, Vale said, looking around the room. You have been planning this for a while. 3 months, Thessara admitted. She gestured to the monitoring station. I have sensors that will track heart rate, blood pressure, hormonal fluctuations, neural activity, muscle tension, and cellular stress markers. Everything will be recorded and analyzed. Vale walked to the central platform and sat down, completely at ease. And what about you? How will you be monitoring things? Thessara felt her skin shift toward a nervous pale blue. I will observe from the control station. All data will be transmitted in real time. That seems distant, Vale said. How will you measure cross-species compatibility from across the room? He was right. Of course. She had been avoiding this exact question all night. True compatibility testing required direct interaction. It required her to be part of the experiment, not just an observer. But admitting that meant admitting she wanted to be involved for more than just scientific reasons. I had considered, she began carefully, that more direct observation might be necessary for comprehensive data collection. Vale stood and walked toward her. Dr. Thessara, we agreed to honesty, remember? Say what you really mean. Thessara took a breath. I want to test compatibility between human and Xylorian physiology directly, which means I need to participate in the experiment. With you. Finally, Vale said with a slight smile. Now we can actually begin. He reached out and gently took her hand, guiding her toward the platform. Thessara felt her heart racing, her sensors probably already recording her elevated state. This was insane. She was a scientist, not a test subject. But as Vale's warm hand held hers, all her objections seemed to fade. We will start slowly, she said, trying to maintain some professional control. Basic contact. I need to establish baseline readings. Vale nodded and sat back on the platform, pulling her down beside him. Whatever you need, Doctor. Thessara activated her wrist interface, and holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing their vital signs in real time. Her heart rate was already elevated, a bright blue line spiking higher than her normal baseline. Vale's readings were steady, controlled, showing the kind of cardiovascular health she had expected from human data. I will begin with simple tactile contact, she said, reaching out to place her hand on his chest. The sensor suit transmitted his body heat to her palm, and she felt the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. It was faster than Xylorian baseline but perfectly regular. Strong. Reliable. Your heart rate is increasing, Vale observed, watching her readouts. Nervous response, Thessara said quickly. Perfectly normal for initial contact with an unfamiliar species. Is that the scientific explanation? Vale asked. His hand came up to cover hers, pressing her palm more firmly against his chest. Or is it something else? Thessara met his eyes. The clinical distance she had been trying to maintain was crumbling rapidly. Your body temperature is significantly higher than mine. It is affecting my thermal regulation. Should I move away? Vale asked, though he made no motion to do so. No, Thessara said softly. I need to observe how my system adapts. Vale's other hand reached up, his fingers gently tracing along her jaw. The touch sent electric sensations through her nervous system, lighting up her neural monitors with cascading signals. This was far more intense than she had anticipated. Xylorian touch was gentle, careful, controlled. Vale's touch was confident, almost possessive, like he knew exactly what he was doing. Your skin changes color, he observed. What does silver mean? Heightened emotional state, Thessara admitted. Increased blood flow. Elevated arousal indicators. So you are attracted to me, Vale said. It was not a question. The data suggests physiological compatibility, Thessara replied, trying to maintain scientific language even as her body responded to his proximity. Vale laughed softly. Say it without the science talk. Thessara felt her last defenses breaking down. Yes. I am attracted to you. From the moment you walked into my lab. This experiment, the testing, I wanted it to be real. With you. Vale's hand slid into her hair, the silvery strands flowing through his fingers like water. Good. Because I have been attracted to you since I saw you standing by that viewport, so focused on your data you did not even notice me watching you. He pulled her closer, and Thessara went willingly, her body moving on instincts older than science. Their faces were inches apart now, and she could feel his breath on her lips, warm and steady. Her monitoring equipment was going wild, recording everything, but she no longer cared about the data. The experiment, she whispered. Can wait another minute, Vale finished, and kissed her. The sensation was overwhelming. Human kisses were not like Xylorian bonding touches. There was heat, pressure, intensity. Vale's mouth moved against hers with confident skill, and Thessara found herself responding with equal passion. Her hands gripped his shoulders, feeling the solid muscle beneath the sensor suit. Her skin was cycling through rapid color changes, blue to silver to almost white with the intensity of sensation. When they finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, Thessara looked at her monitors. Every reading was elevated. Heart rate, neural activity, hormonal production, everything screaming that her body was responding to him in ways she had never experienced before. That was, she started. Just the beginning, Vale said. His hands moved to the fastenings of her research suit. Unless you want to stop. Thessara should stop. This was wildly unprofessional. She was compromising her entire study. But as Vale's fingers worked at her clothing, as she felt his heat and strength surrounding her, she realized she had never wanted anything more. Continue, she said. For science. Vale grinned. Of course. For science. What followed was the most comprehensive research session of Thessara's career. Vale proved every claim in the human data files. His endurance was remarkable, his recovery time almost non-existent, his ability to maintain intensity for extended periods beyond anything she had thought possible. But more than that, he was attentive, responsive, constantly adjusting to her reactions, learning what made her skin glow brightest, what touches made her gasp in her native language. Hours passed. The monitoring equipment recorded everything. Thessara lost count of how many times they reached completion, how many times Vale demonstrated that human males could indeed perform far beyond what other species considered possible. Her own body, designed for careful scheduled intimacy, responded with shocking adaptability. The pleasure centers in her brain lit up like stars, her nervous system learning new patterns of sensation. They finally collapsed together on the platform, both breathing hard, skin slick with sweat and luminescent with Xylorian afterglow. Thessara felt exhausted and energized simultaneously, her body humming with satisfaction. Vale looked barely winded, already recovering, his vital signs returning to baseline with impressive speed. "So," he said, running his fingers through her hair, "what does the data say?" Thessara pulled up a holographic display with a weak gesture. The readings were extraordinary. Full compatibility. Better than compatible. Symbiotic. My body adapted to yours in real time. Neural pathways formed new connections. Hormonal synchronization occurred naturally. This is revolutionary. And how do you feel? Vale asked. Scientifically speaking. Thessara turned to look at him, her silver eyes meeting his dark ones. Scientifically speaking, I feel like I just discovered something that changes everything I thought I knew about my own biology. And personally speaking, I feel like I never want this experiment to end. Vale pulled her closer, kissing her forehead gently. Good news then. Humans have excellent endurance, remember? We can run this experiment for a very long time. Thessara smiled, feeling happy in a way she had not felt in years. I will need extensive data, multiple sessions, long-term monitoring. I am available for as much testing as you need, Vale said with a grin. They lay together in comfortable silence, the monitoring equipment still recording, documenting the aftermath of their encounter. Thessara watched the data streams, seeing proof of everything she had hoped for. Humans and Xylorians were not just compatible. They were perfect for each other. Suddenly, alarms shrieked through the station. Red emergency lights flooded the chamber. Vale was on his feet instantly, his relaxed demeanor transforming into alert readiness. Thessara scrambled up, pulling on her suit, her fingers fumbling with the fastenings. What is happening? Vale asked, already moving toward the door. Thessara pulled up the station security feeds on her wrist display. Her blood turned cold. Raiders. Multiple ships. They are breaching the outer hull. Why would raiders attack a research station? Vale demanded. Thessara looked at him, fear replacing the warmth they had just shared. Because someone told them what we were researching. Human Xylorian compatibility data is worth millions on the black market. Genetic engineering. Military applications. If they get our files. They get a blueprint for creating super soldiers, Vale finished grimly. Where are the security forces? Responding to the outer breach, Thessara said, watching personnel scramble across multiple camera feeds. But they are coming from 3 directions. We are going to be cut off. Vale grabbed her hand. Do you have weapons? This is a research station, not a military base. That was not what I asked. Thessara hesitated, then nodded. Emergency armory. 2 levels down. But we would have to go through the main corridors. The raiders. Then we go through the raiders, Vale said simply. Lead the way. They ran from the testing chamber, Thessara still adjusting her clothing as they moved. The corridors were chaos, researchers and staff fleeing toward the emergency pods, security personnel trying to establish defensive positions. Explosions echoed from somewhere above them, shaking the entire structure. Thessara led them down a service stairwell, her intimate knowledge of the station's layout giving them an advantage. They could hear shouting, weapons fire, the sounds of invasion getting closer. At the armory level, they found 2 security guards already dead, the door blown open. Stay behind me, Vale ordered, stepping into the armory first. It was empty, but half the weapons were already gone. Vale grabbed a plasma rifle and a sidearm, moving with practiced efficiency. He tossed a pistol to Thessara. You know how to use this. Basic training, she said, checking the charge. I am a scientist, not a soldier. Today you are both, Vale said. He moved to a terminal, his fingers flying across the interface. Can you lock down your research data? Wipe it remotely. Thessara joined him, accessing her lab systems. I can encrypt it. Full military grade. It would take them months to crack. Do it. Now. She worked quickly, her scientists' fingers dancing through security protocols. The research data, their data, everything they had just recorded, all of it locked behind encryption that would take quantum computers years to break. She felt a pang of loss. That data was supposed to change the galaxy. Now it might be lost forever. Done, she said. But they will know we did it. They will come for us. Vale checked his rifle's charge. Let them come. We just proved humans can handle extended activity, remember? I am nowhere near tired yet. Despite everything, Thessara felt herself smile. You are insane. You are the one who wanted to test human limits, Vale replied. Congratulations, Doctor. You are about to get comprehensive field data on human combat performance. The door behind them exploded inward, and armed figures poured into the armory. Vale opened fire immediately, his shots precise and controlled. Thessara added her own fire, less accurate but enough to make their attackers take cover. Back corridor, she shouted, pointing to a maintenance passage. They ran together, weapons fire chasing them down the narrow hallway. The passage led to the environmental systems section, a maze of pipes and machinery. Vale pulled her behind a massive air recycling unit as plasma bolts scorched the air where they had just been standing. How many? He asked, breathing hard but still controlled. At least 6 in the armory, Thessara said. More in the main corridors. Vale, we cannot fight them all. We do not have to fight them all, he said. We just have to survive until station security regains control. How long? Thessara checked her wrist display. 15 minutes. Maybe 20. They are calling for reinforcements from the nearby patrol fleet. Then we hold for 20 minutes, Vale said. He looked at her, his expression serious. Thessara, I need you to know. What happened between us today, that was not just for the experiment. Not for me. She felt tears threatening at the corners of her eyes. Vale, this is not the time. This is exactly the time, he insisted. Because in 20 minutes we might both be dead. So I need you to know. I came here expecting a clinical research project. I found something real. Someone real. Thessara grabbed his face and kissed him hard. If we survive this, I am never letting you leave this station. The experiment continues indefinitely. Understand? Vale grinned. Best research project ever. Then the raiders found them, and talking was over. The environmental systems section became a battlefield. Vale moved like a trained soldier, which Thessara realized.
The latest scans, are they conclusive?
Partially. The neural patterns suggest instability.
Show me, what are we missing?
Here, the synaptic overlays. They indicate external influence. Sabotage from inside? Worse, it's
Thessara stayed close to him, adding her fire when opportunities presented themselves, but mostly trying not to get killed. You never mentioned military training, she shouted over the sound of weapons fire. You never asked. Vale shouted back, dropping 2 raiders with a controlled burst. Human doctors serve in combat zones. We learn to multitask. They fell back deeper into the machinery maze, using the massive environmental processors as cover. The raiders were coordinating now, trying to flank them from multiple directions. Thessara could see at least 8 hostiles on her tactical display, maybe more beyond sensor range. Vale, she said urgently. We need a better position. If they surround us here, we are finished. Vale scanned the area quickly. There. The control room. He pointed to an elevated platform overlooking the environmental systems. Reinforced walls, single access point, better sight lines. We have to cross 30 meters of open space, Thessara protested. Then we cross it fast, Vale said. He grabbed her hand. When I say go, you run. Do not stop. Do not look back. Understood. Thessara nodded, her heart hammering. Vale leaned out and fired a sustained burst, forcing the raiders into cover. Go! They ran. Plasma bolts seared the air around them. Thessara felt one pass so close to her head that her hair smoked. Vale returned fire while moving, an impossible feat of coordination. They hit the stairs to the control room at full speed, taking them 3 at a time. Vale slammed the door control behind them, and heavy blast doors closed with a satisfying thunk. The control room was small but defensible. Windows gave them a view of the entire environmental section. Vale immediately moved to a terminal, his fingers flying across the controls. "Can you access environmental controls from here?" Thessara joined him, bringing up her command codes. "Yes." "Why?" "Because I have an idea that is either brilliant or suicidal," Vale said. He pulled up the atmospheric regulation systems. "What happens if we vent this entire section?" Thessara stared at him. "Everything without a sealed suit would suffocate in 30 seconds. Including us." "Not if we seal this control room first," Vale said, already working. "Look, the control room has independent life support. Emergency protocol for maintenance workers. We seal ourselves in, vent the section, the raiders either die or retreat, and we wait for security to retake the station." It was insane. It was also probably their only chance. "Do it," Thessara said. They worked together, Thessara's scientific knowledge combining with Vale's tactical thinking. She activated the control room's independent atmosphere system while he programmed the vent sequence. The raiders outside were trying to breach the door, plasma torches beginning to cut through the reinforced metal. "We have maybe 2 minutes before they get through," Vale estimated. "Almost ready," Thessara said, her fingers racing across the interface. "But Vale, even if this works, we will be trapped in here. The raiders' ship could just evacuate and come back with breaching equipment." "One problem at a time," Vale said. The vent sequence was ready, his finger hovering over the activation control. Last chance to object. Thessara looked at him. They had known each other for less than 2 days. They had shared the most intimate research experiment of her career, and now they were about to either save each other or die together. It felt cosmically unfair that she had just found someone this remarkable only to lose him. "No objections," she said. "Do it." Vale activated the sequence. Alarms blared throughout the section. The raiders outside suddenly realized what was happening, their attempts at breaching becoming frantic. But it was too late. Massive vents opened throughout the environmental section, and the atmosphere began rushing out into space. Through the control room windows, Thessara watched the raiders scramble for emergency respirators. Some made it. Some did not. Within 40 seconds, the section was completely evacuated, floating bodies visible in the windows, and living raiders retreating frantically towards sealed sections of the station. Vale and Thessara stood together, watching the aftermath of their desperate gambit. The control room's atmosphere held steady, life support functioning perfectly. They were alive. They had actually survived. "That was insane," Thessara said, her voice shaking with adrenaline. "That was human ingenuity under pressure," Vale replied. He pulled her close, holding her tightly. "We make pretty good partners in survival situations." Thessara buried her face against his chest, feeling his heartbeat still steady despite everything they had just been through. "Your endurance is remarkable. Your combat skills, your tactical thinking, your ability to function under extreme stress. The human data files barely capture it. So your experiment yielded good results?" Vale asked with a smile. "The best," Thessara admitted. She looked up at him. "Vale, after today, after everything, I cannot pretend this is just research anymore. I cannot be objective about you." "Good," Vale said firmly. "Because I stopped being objective about you the moment we kissed. This might have started as an experiment, but it became something real. Something worth fighting for." They kissed again, slower this time, without the urgency of combat or research. Just 2 people who had found something unexpected and precious in the middle of chaos. The station's communication system crackled to life. "Environmental section control room. This is station security. We have regained control of the main corridors. The raiders are in retreat. What is your status?" Vale keyed the communication panel. 2 survivors. uninjured. We had to vent this section to prevent breach. We are sealed in the control room with independent life support. Understood. Stay put. We will have you out in 10 minutes. Vale closed the channel and turned back to the Thessara. So, Doctor. In 10 minutes, security arrives, we give statements. This whole incident becomes an investigation. The research you did today, the data we collected, it is going to come out. People are going to have questions. The Thessara nodded slowly. The Interspecies Council will want to know why raiders attacked us. When they discover we were testing human Xylorian compatibility, there will be inquiries. Ethics reviews. Probably public scrutiny. Are you worried? Vale asked. The Thessara considered the question. 24 hours ago, she would have been terrified of professional consequences. Now, after everything they had shared, after proving that her theories were correct, after finding someone who made her feel alive in ways she had never experienced, she found she did not care about consequences at all. No, she said honestly. Let them investigate. Let them review. The data speaks for itself. Humans and Xylorians are compatible. More than compatible. We are perfect for each other. And I am willing to stake my entire career on proving that. Vale smiled, that warm expression that made her skin glow silver. Then I guess I am staying on this station. Someone needs to help you continue the research. Long-term studies. Years of data collection. Years. The Thessara asked, hope rising in her chest. At least, Vale confirmed. Possibly a lifetime. You know, for comprehensive scientific analysis. The Thessara laughed, feeling joy bubble up despite the destruction around them. That is a very long experiment. Humans are known for commitment, Vale said. He kissed her forehead gently. Besides, you still have not fully tested human endurance limits. Today was just preliminary data. We have barely scratched the surface. Then we better get started on Phase 2, the Thessara said. As soon as security clears us, we go back to my lab and continue testing. Properly this time. No interruptions. No raiders trying to kill us, Vale agreed. No ethical boundaries, the Thessara added. Just pure scientific exploration, Vale finished. They stood together in the control room, watching through the windows as station security swept through the environmental section, securing the area. In the distance, the raiders' ships were fleeing, pursued by patrol vessels that had finally arrived. The immediate danger was over. But the Thessara knew this was only the beginning. The data they had collected, the compatibility they had proven, it would change everything. Research institutions across the galaxy would want to verify their findings. Human and Xylorian governments would want to discuss the implications. Medical science would be revolutionized. But more importantly, they had proved that connection between species was possible. That love could transcend biology and culture and the vast distances between stars. Security arrived exactly 10 minutes later, cutting through the sealed door with precision equipment. The captain in charge looked at them with obvious relief. Dr. Thessara, Dr. Vale, are you both unharmed? Physically, yes, the Thessara confirmed. The raiders were after research data. We managed to encrypt everything before they could access it. The security captain nodded. We will need full statements. And Dr. Thessara, the Interspecies Council has already sent inquiries about the nature of your research. This attack has raised serious questions. I understand, the Thessara said calmly. I am prepared to answer all questions. My research was legitimate, ethical, and produced groundbreaking results. I stand by every decision I made. The captain looked between them, obviously noting their proximity, the way they stood close together. Very well. Please follow me to the debriefing area. As they walked through the damaged corridors, Vale took Thessara's hand. It was a simple gesture, but in the context of their situation, it was also a declaration. They were together. They were partners. Not just in research, but in everything that came after. The debriefing lasted hours. The Thessara explained her research goals, the compatibility testing, the data they had collected. She presented the encrypted files, offered to share everything with proper scientific oversight, and made it clear that her methods, while unconventional, had produced valid results. Vale corroborated everything, adding his own perspective as both subject and scientist. By the time they were finally released, station time showed late evening cycle. They walked back to Thessara's lab in comfortable silence, both exhausted but reluctant to separate. The lab had been untouched by the raiders, her equipment still humming quietly, monitoring systems ready to continue their work. So, Vale said, looking around the space where this had all begun. What happens now? Thessara pulled up her research files, the data from their first session glowing in holographic displays around them. Now we publish. We share what we discovered. We change the scientific understanding of cross-species compatibility. And we continue the research, because one day of data is not enough to support our conclusions. More testing required, Vale said with a grin. Extensive testing, Thessara confirmed. She walked to him, placing her hands on his chest, feeling his heartbeat steady and strong. Vale, I need you to understand. If we continue this, if we make our relationship public, it will not be easy. There will be skeptics who claim our research is biased. Critics who say we crossed ethical lines. People who will never accept that a human and Xylorian can truly be partners. Vale covered her hands with his. And I do not care, Thessara said fiercely. I have spent my entire life following rules, maintaining distance, being the perfect objective scientist. But what we found today, what we proved, it is bigger than rules. We demonstrated something revolutionary. That connection is possible. That love does not respect species boundaries. That humans really are as remarkable as your data claimed. We, Vale said softly, humans and Xylorians together. That is what makes it remarkable. He was right. Alone, humans had impressive endurance. Alone, Xylorians had sophisticated biology. But together, they created something new. Something better. Something that could change the galaxy. Thessara reached up and kissed him, pouring everything she felt into that contact. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, she smiled. The experiment continues, Dr. Vale. For science. For discovery. For us. For us, Vale agreed. Now and for as long as you will have me. Forever then, Thessara said. Because Xylorians mate for life, and I just chose mine. Vale's expression softened with emotion. Then you better show me how Xylorian bonding works. In detail. For my research notes. Thessara laughed and pulled him toward the testing chamber. Gladly. And after, we test human stamina again. Because I have a theory that we barely touched on the limits today. I love your scientific rigor, Vale said. And I love your endurance, Thessara replied. Among many other things. They disappeared into the testing chamber together, the doors sealing behind them. The monitoring equipment activated automatically, ready to record new data. But this time, it was not just about science. It was about two people who had found each other across the vastness of space, who had proven that connection was possible, and who were determined to explore that connection for the rest of their lives. Outside, the Celestial Research Station continued its orbit, damaged but functional, a symbol of cooperation between species. Inside, in a small lab filled with sophisticated equipment, a human and a Xylorian were writing a new chapter in interspecies relations. One that would inspire countless others to look beyond their own kind, to seek connection in unexpected places, to believe that love truly knew no boundaries. The data would be published. The research would be verified. The galaxy would change. But for now, in this moment, it was just Thessara and Vale, two scientists who had set out to prove a theory and discovered something far more valuable. They had found each other. And that was the most important discovery of all. The end.